Good evening, guys, and happy Monday to all of your sunshiny faces. So guys, I have something to share with you guys. We got a project done today. I told you guys yesterday how we ended up, me and my dad went to Menards yesterday to go and get like some of the hardware things that we needed to finish doing this outlet job in the kitchen. So that was our thing, was that we ended up getting some of the pieces, but then realized that we had to check to see what we had before we could actually finish it, because we didn't want to buy some of the pieces that were sort of expensive, because my dad knew that he did have some of the stuff. So but the thing is that one of the things actually was the wrong size, so we will wind up having to go and get a different piece also. So we finished it, but we had to put a temporary outlet on that we're gonna wind up replacing and putting a different outlet on. But yeah, I'll explain it to you guys probably when I show it to you guys. But we did wind up getting that done today. And I also got a lot of laundry done. I got dishes done too, and I did edit one vlog today too, because I realized I only did one on Friday. So but it was like, I think I edited Thursday's vlog, so I would have been caught up on Friday had I actually edited Thursday's vlog. But I'm just like, I didn't upload or edit over the weekend, which normally I don't anyway, so like my Mondays and Tuesdays will most likely be me like sort of catching up from those days. But all in all, it's not, again, like hopefully we'll not fall behind on things, you know. But like the weekends are normally my time sort of set aside to like, again, get project things, stuff like that done, you know, because again, like yesterday I spent the day going through those boxes of all of my old school papers, and going through just like other stuff from the attic too. And then today, even though today was Monday, but my dad was home from work, so that's why I didn't get to as many things. Like I didn't spend like most of my day editing today or anything like that, because I didn't have as much time because we were finishing this. So I'll show you guys, like I said, this new outlet setup that we got done in the kitchen today. So this is what will be replaced. Obviously anything that is yellow right there is not supposed to be there, and it will be white. So what we ended up doing was, we had an outlet here. Funny story, guys. I told you guys how our house is so bizarre, and the wiring in the house doesn't seem to make sense entirely, and some of the other things. It just seems like most of our house, the job was done like halfway, or was not thought through for some reason before it was actually finished. For example, over the stove over there, that was the hood that we got. We got it so that it could either be a like internal fan that filters, you know, when you use the stove or whatever, it filters the stuff through the stove, through the vent, or we got it so it was convertible and we could do an exterior exhaust, so it exhausts out the house. And you can see there is a spot outside of the house that has a little exhaust on it. However, for some weird reason, there's a stud right in the middle of where the exhaust is, and it looks like somebody had tried to cut into it and then realized, oh geez, I better not do that, because most likely the stud is supporting the cabinets and other things in here as well. So it just like has a slice into it, but then they didn't finish doing it. So like I said, I don't know who built the house or decided to do remodels in the house before us, if it was the previous owners or if it was, we know that there was a family that we bought the house from. Prior to that, I think that there was an older gentleman that lived in the house like way before us, possibly maybe even like when the house was built, because I think the house was built in like the 40s maybe, maybe the 50s, somewhere around there. I have found newspapers in the attic that have like that date back just about that far. I think like something 50 something or 60 maybe, something like that. And I think that they were just shoved in there for like more like insulation sort of. Possibly could have gotten lost in between the rafters, but I sort of think that's maybe what it was for. Anyways, so like I said, some of this stuff in the house just does not make sense. This is another one of those things that just does not make sense, because this outlet, for some reason, this singular outlet is on a fuse all by itself. We have maybe no more than 12 fuses in the entire house. That is what our house is. It's a small house, but that is what our house is built on. And the wiring is all weird. The lights and my mom's office and bathroom, which are at the end of the house, are all on one fuse. Then like the furnace is on its own fuse. The kitchen, with the exception of this outlet, is all on its own fuse. Everything in the living room is on its own fuse. I think maybe the living room lights also might be on their own fuse, or else they're tied in with the whole rest of the thing. My bedroom, my parents' bedroom, and the laundry room, which the laundry room is right over there, is all on its own fuse as well. And the lights are not included because, like I said, the lights are all on the fuse with my mom's office and bedroom. And I don't know too, like, because again, it probably was originally a 1-story, and then they added the 2nd floor expansion upstairs, because we know that, because that thing that's right there in the hallway, that was the original return when the house was just 1 floor, which is huge. This is like half the size. Well, originally this was actually done when we redid the furnace. It was smaller than that. It was like a small little, like one of the ones that just has a little opening, like that they're down on the ground or whatever. That was what the return is. These are supposed to be big to help circulate the air in your house. You know, it's a whole, you know, air conditioning, cooling, heating sort of thing. That is what we have for an entire 1st floor now, because the upstairs has its own separate. We do separate air conditioning, and it has baseboard heating, upstairs electric heating, because it's not part of, it doesn't have any of that situated upstairs when they you know, like I said, added that on. I don't know who ended up doing it or when it ended up happening, like I said, or anything like that. I do know too that at some point the kitchen was also remodeled. Like again, maybe that was like in the 80s is maybe sort of what I'm thinking. Just because I know that it looked like there was a countertop that probably would have fit the countertop space, which that is the only countertop space we have in this kitchen. This is pathetic, I know. This is all stuff that we've added. But it was about that size. The weird thing is that it didn't have like a knockout for the sink, but it was that length, and it was orange. It was nasty looking. But we had it in the garage for a really long time, and my dad sort of used it as a workbench for a while until the last garbage day we ended up throwing it out. Like our big like communal garbage pickup, like 5, I think you have to buy like 8 garbage stickers, and you can put anything out that you want, within reason. You can't put anything in there that doesn't belong, that has to be like recycled, and like batteries, you know, all that kind of stuff. And there's certain things, but like building material sort of stuff you can just throw out there. Those type of things can go in like the communal garbage thing. Anyways, guys, I feel like I'm getting totally off topic. So like I said, I know that the kitchen was redone, and it was sort of done in like that 80s, sort of like 90s, like that was what the kitchen looked like before we painted it. Was the wood coloring was very much like 90s sort of. So I'm thinking that maybe the countertop was again from like maybe the 70s, 60s or something like that. It was this really ugly red countertop. So again, it's not been updated in a while, like the countertop, but we replaced all the appliances and painted the cabinets so that you don't know that they're really as old as they probably are, and they looked dated. So like I said, that was all of our updates that we've done. But like I said, none of the stuff in this house makes any kind of sense. So that outlet is on its own separate fuse all by itself, and it's not marked as anything. Like everything else is marked like family room, living room, or family room, which is over there, kitchen. The garage and the upstairs are on a fuse as well. Also really weird. Anyways, we blow fuses not really often, but now that we have more energy efficient appliances, actually this doesn't happen really quite as much anymore. Like I used to blow fuses a lot if I had our old washer and dryer running at the same time, along with like something in my room or my parents' room or whatever. Like we had, like back before we got the new air conditioner and furnace, we had problems sometimes if we were running the window air conditioners with the old washer and dryer at the same time. So that is no longer a problem, because again, the energy efficient ones, we don't have to run the window air conditioners, because we got the furnace or the air conditioner replaced last year, and then the furnace replaced last not last fall, the fall before that. Anyways, that was, you know, the whole kind of thing. But again, so my dad's like, this has to be on like some type of fuse or whatever. We finally ended up figuring it out, that, and we went around the entire house trying to figure out like what else could possibly be on this fuse, and we realized it was one single outlet. My dad was like, that's really weird, but maybe the only thing he could possibly think of was like, maybe the previous owners were like blowing fuses a lot in the kitchen, like they couldn't run the, like, you know, have the fridge going with the microwave and like a blender going at the same time, and they keep blowing a fuse or whatever, so that's why. But my dad also said too, it's in a really weird space, like it's him being an electrician, it's in a really weird space, so he also sort of thinks, and from what he looked at, actually the way the box is inside of that outlet, was that this whole thing actually right here, this window sort of cut out to make it flow a little bit better with the kitchen space, so it doesn't feel like the kitchen's so closed off. This he actually now thinks is possibly was not like original to the house, because originally we thought like, oh, it's just this really cute, like has this character, you know, sort of, you know, extra character to the house, and you know, like it was possibly original, like it was, you know, in the original plans for the building and all that kind of stuff. My dad really doesn't think that that's actually the case anymore, based on the electrical stuff that is going on right underneath that. He thinks that they had like a box there, possibly like, I think a junction or something like that, and that it went off and fed other stuff around the house, but then when they ended up adding this in, they just decided to randomly put an outlet there. And the weird thing is too, is that it was actually, the box was so high up that the faceplate actually had to be cut, because the outlet was so high up too. So the faceplate was actually almost cut like in half. It was like the top part of it was like cut off, so like up to here was actually not there, because this much was like how it was. So my dad put this on so that we could move it down and actually be in the correct spot, and then we ran the raceway over here, and we now have back here is a 4 spots, because we added, like I said, the microwave I showed you guys when we ended up doing all this not last spring, the spring before that, the 2020 year, when we were all in lockdown, and we did all this because the microwave has to be plugged in, but pretty much permanently. But we had to run it's so short, the what's it called, the plug, so we actually had to run a extension cord all the way down here. So my dad's like, let's just do this so that we don't have to, because again, it's really hard to get actual like stuff inside of this wall because of how the box is and everything like that as well. So it just made more sense to actually run the raceway, which is what we also did too over there. Couldn't do this because there was a problem with the stud, even though we really tried to actually do this in the wall. We couldn't, and so we were just going to come off of it on the wall. We couldn't because of, I forget exactly what it was, but there's a stud, and then we couldn't do, I think, the like quad box because it was so close to the other stud next to the window, which again, I don't know if that's normal or not too, like where they have all the studs. I know they're supposed to be every so many like feet or inches or whatever, but just like the fact that it's so close to the window one, again, we couldn't get like a box like this in between it actually. So anyways, we got this put in as well today, so that we can also have the Keurig plugged in, because this was the same thing too. We had to have a power strip actually just sitting here so that we could have the Keurig plugged in, along with having the extension cord for the microwave and all that kind of stuff. And two, like my mom has got a Sensi, and then two, like if somebody's sitting here and wants to have their computer plugged in, they couldn't have that. So what this is supposed to be, and the reason we have to still replace this, and this is just temporary for right now, I'll replace this actually this weekend, was the box here is actually not deep enough. I guess we sort of got the wrong one, although it fits for this, and would fit for like a light switch or something like that. But the kind of outlet that we're going to do is a one that has the USBs in them, which we already have, and that's normally pretty expensive, so that was one thing that we already bought. But we want to do that so again, you can plug your phone in and you can use it here while you're sitting at the coffee bar or at the kitchen table, you know, sort of whatever. But it's actually very deep, and this is not deep enough, and it's hitting the box I think on the other side or something like that. So we have to get one that's deeper. And so like I said, in order to do that, that's why for right now we just stuck this on here, so that because my dad had extra yellow ones in the garage, so that's why an extra yellow faceplate and extra yellow outlet. So that's why this is just temporarily, we're just gonna get rid of that because we don't want to do yellow anywhere anyway. And this is super, it's like textured too, like it's really old. They don't even make ones like those anymore, I don't think. So my dad's like, let's just temporarily put this on here, and we will wind up replacing it with the like I was saying, with the USB one, but we have to get the box, and that will be easy because everything's already assembled. We basically just have to replace that in the outlet. But now, like I said, that comes off of here and goes underneath and comes out right here. And now we have this plugged in so that it all fits perfectly with the, like I said, the microwave, and we can have the Keurig plugged in. And again, too, we can run other things. Like I think my dad plugged in my mom's Scentsy over here. We can have this little light. She has another Scentsy too, which I don't know why there's two right next to each other, but I think she just put one there. But anyways, again, we can have other things sort of run off of this and still have access to this outlet too for extra things. Again, somebody wants to work on their computer at the coffee bar, because I like to, but I never am able to, just because like there's always stuff plugged in, and I'm like, I can't even find an outlet over here, just forget it. So now that we don't have that problem, it's so awesome. And this honestly did not take us that long. We sort of prepped it yesterday, and then it took us maybe about an hour or so today. Plus we ran to Menards super early this morning, but we ended up getting all of that taken care of. So like I said, we just have to do a little bit of touch up on this, but this should honestly take maybe like 15 to 20 minutes to do. It's just, again, we have to take the whole thing that we just put together apart, but it's no big deal. And then also too, on the other side of this coffee bar, there is an outlet as well, and that one is on the ground though. And the thing that again makes me think that the house originally either didn't have this here or whatever is because another weird thing in the house, which took me a long time to notice, there is molding on the floor all around the entire living room except for on this wall. And the other thing that is only on this wall, which I noticed randomly one day, maybe my parents had always noticed that it was here, but it's been painted over, is that if you guys see, I don't know if you guys can see it really well, and the lighting's probably going to be really, really horrible, but there's actually, you guys see those little like lines sort of, that's all paneling. This was originally paneled. I don't know if the whole room was or not, but that's why it actually just has a very fine little tiny strip of molding around the bottom. Everything else has really, really nice, like thick sort of molding. But yeah, it doesn't have any on that side of the wall where the paneling is. And so, like I said, they never ended up tearing it out. They just painted over it. And like I said, I didn't really notice it entirely, but I'm totally like, wow, that's definitely like, it's just been here for so long that I never noticed it. But, like, you know, really paid attention, like, why does this wall have little lines in it? And then finally one day when I was old enough to realize what paneling was, I think, I finally was like, you know what, that's what's on the wall. But it never stood out because it was always painted ever since we first moved in. But anyways, there is another outlet though on the bottom part of that side. And I'm wondering if when they ended up doing the paneling or something like that, they replaced the outlet, but they put one in that did not have a ground to it. So in order for us to plug in things like, again, computers and televisions and you know, anything like that into that outlet, we'd have to use one of those little converter thingies sort of that converts it so that it doesn't have to have a ground, which is not very safe also too. And so we were able to replace that today as well while we were fumbling around trying to figure out which fuse this outlet went to. And now we found out it's on its own outlet. So my dad wants to also possibly move some of the we have to go in the attic, which is awesome because we're cleaning it, so it's actually accessible. Go around and try and get all of the lights on like a different circuit than the one it's on right now. Like we might try and get everything in the laundry room on this circuit that just has the outlet solely on it, because we can probably tab off of it somewhere else and, like I said, sort of rearrange the electricity so that we don't blow fuses if at all possible, and we can get all of the lights onto the one possibly for then like my parents in my bedroom, and then the laundry room on its own fuse with that thing, because the bigger appliances like the washer and dryer draw more. So again, we need to have, you know, they don't need to be on their own, but of us not blowing any fuses, it would be smarter to have it on something that just has one stinking outlet. It makes no sense why one outlet has its own fuse in a house that doesn't, like I said, we have maybe 10 at most, I feel like. No more than a dozen like fuses in the house. Because like I said, like however many I named, that's pretty much what we have. The only thing I could possibly think of is that there's one singular light in the crawl space. It could possibly also be controlling that, but we went around the entire house and checked everything. We were like, is this thing on it? Is this thing on it? It is just that outlet. It makes no sense. I told you guys, we've lived here for 20 years now, and every single time that we try and do a project, we're like, wasn't done like properly the first time. When we had the plumbers come in and redo this something under the sink or whatever, something was also done wrong. They were like, you know, this isn't properly installed in the way that like piping is supposed to be or something like that. And we were like, well, go figure, it's our house, you know, sort of thing. Like, it doesn't make any sense. So anyways, yeah, we also got both of those outlets on the other side to replace, since we were like, well, the power's off in here for right now, why don't we just real quick replace this, because we had an extra outlet as well for that. So now that one's all nice and fresh and replaced. But like I said, this the more and more stuff that we do here, like if you guys went back and watched those videos from, like I said, it was almost 2 springs ago now, when we were doing all the stuff in the kitchen, I was just like, no, this doesn't make sense, this doesn't make sense, like, you know, all this kind of stuff. And now today we're like, wow, there's one outlet that has its own fuse, which shouldn't and doesn't make any lick of sense at all. But again, it's our house, so it to somebody when they were doing this, it probably made perfect sense. Or again, too, somebody was just lazy and decided like, oh, we'll just take this one because it's not using anything anymore or whatever. What it was for originally, I don't know, but they were just like, oh, this is unused, we'll just put in one outlet on it, on this fuse. And like I said, doesn't make sense. So anyways, guys, I was very productive today though. Got a lot of stuff done, other things, projects. I was so happy like to get a project done finally again. Feel like it's been so long, like since back like at the beginning of summer, I feel like was the last thing that we really got done. So finally, you know, and again, we were doing attic stuff and attic cleaning and everything like that, but finally to like get a project done that I'm gonna see every time that I come in the kitchen, I'm like, oh, this is so awesome. So I don't go in the attic enough to see it. So anyways, I will see you guys though all in tomorrow's vlog. If you guys did enjoy today's, make sure you guys give it a big old thumbs up. If you guys are new, we'd love if you'd subscribe, and I'll see all of your sunshiny faces tomorrow. So bye, guys.